Here next Saturday night, the Dogs frustrating the favoured Saints in Launceston on Friday night. They worked hard to get the better of them. They lost the lead, and then in the dying seconds, Cameron Faulkner reclaimed it for them. The Dogs into the last 4 of the Wizard Cup. And just at the moment, the Blues in the box seat to take on the Bulldogs next week in a semi-final. Christy Malthouse at half-time on the boundary line.
Thanks, Tim. Well, Carlton have just come out to the ground very late, actually just broken up from their huddle, but they're showing a lot of team unity. At quarter time, they were in a tight huddle before Dennis Pagan even got down to the ground, and at half time, again staying close with a lot to say to each other. Anthony Koutafidis, who's not playing, got around and had an encouraging word for every single player in the rooms. And again, as I said, when they came out into the ground, looking very tight and a very tight unit, which is good to see a team acting like a team off the ground as well as on it.
Thanks, Christy. A new feature at Telstra Dome this year is the Nilex clock. Won't be a countdown clock, though, boys.
Oh, wouldn't Colo love it if it was?
Lance Whitnell has Ryan Ferguson, his opponent, and Daniel Bell going on to Favola. And a couple of old stagers having a chat in the middle there. James McDonald and Nick Stevens.
So it's the Blues by 21 points. They led by 15 at quarter time. 21 is the margin at the main break. Uze. Quick kick out of the pack to half forward. The chase is on. Norman against Williams. There's a whistle on play here. Advantage. It's going Carlton's way to half forward. Flying was Bannister unsuccessfully. Ferguson. Maloney was caught a bit high there, and that's the way the umpire saw it too. So free kick going to Brent Maloney.
Deben starting with Neitz in the forward 50 alongside Russell Robertson and Brad Green.
Miller couldn't take the mark. Handball comes out to White. To Uze. Nice kick.
Clever kick. Pulled the kick. Great vision, Adam Uze. Brock McLean needs to go back, settle down and put it through. And it'll be the start that Melbourne need, because the Blues were able to kick a couple of quick ones just before half-time to set themselves up with that 21-point lead.
Taken number 5 in the 2003 draft. Former All-Australian under-18. A nephew of Ricky McLean.
And wasn't he tough? I had the pleasure of playing with Ricky at Carlton for a couple of seasons.
And the horror of playing against him.
That wasn't much fun, Tim.
Ball shaved the post, went through for 1 point.
Third miss from Brock McLean, 3 behinds. Here's a bad kick in, and Luke Williams should make Ryan Houlihan pay, and that's a rare kicking error from the highly skilled Houlihan.
Well, I just don't think he saw Luke Williams. Williams was out on the boundary line to the right of screen, and he comes in. You can see him coming in there, and there's a hole where there were 3 Carlton players. And I'm sure Ryan Houlihan just didn't realise that Williams out on the boundary line was in a dangerous spot.
Demons have got to make the early running in this half. And there's another wasted opportunity. They're still 19 points down.
So Houlihan breathes a sigh of relief. He'll have another crack at it.
It's the old-fashioned huddle.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned huddle coming into play.
There's plenty of holding going on there too. Scotland takes the ball from defence, finds Lappin on centre wing. Squares it up, and it's all Melbourne. Clint Bizzle got rid of his opponent Wiggins, and managed to take a pretty comfortable mark. He finds Uze on the Docklands wing, and his kick finds Green. So build up here by Melbourne. Neitz got the front posse. Front and centre was Miller. Right foot snap is across the face. Robertson. Tackled by Teague. We'll have a throw in.
And Luke Livingston playing on David Neitz and doing a pretty good job at this stage. Robertson playing closer to goal, more or less the full forward. Neitz more towards centre-half forward.
Livingston hasn't had a touch, but he's done pretty well. Does not have a stat. He's a doer defender rather than a brilliant one. Wiggins prizing it away, but straight to Nathan Brown as Melbourne continue to press. No result. Another throw in. Blues have scarcely been forward in the first 3 minutes.
Well, 3 forward, 50 entries to Melbourne, none to Carlton. But they haven't been able to get a goal, Melbourne.
Miller rucking with French. Height advantage to the Carlton man. The former rower, McDonald. Hurried shot. Teague has the set and does it well.
Well, Stevens has peeled off, but his kick smothered. Comes back to Robertson, and he weaves some magic. Oh! Well, Stevens had peeled off. Teague saw him, went to kick hurriedly, and Robertson did the rest.
Well, he smothered the kick, recovered, and then kicked a brilliant goal. Let's have a look at it again.
The ball was out of bounds when it was smothered.
That's a really interesting call, Tim, because after the smother, the ball was out of bounds.
Robertson's third. This is controversial. Look where the ball is when it's smothered. It's out of bounds.
Hits Robertson's arms, bounces out of bounds, then bounces back into play. I think it should have been called out of bounds. We'll have to ask the Geesh this week as for a ruling on that.
Here's McGrath for Carlton. We'll talk more about it when we get a chance, if we get a chance. Here's Whitnell. Not quite. Here's Wiggins. Not quite. And the Demons just manage to hold Carlton at bay. Bizzle. Thump. All down to McLean here. A couple against him. Bentic for Carlton as the numbers prevail. Whitnell again and Favola. Can the Fev weave some more magic? Not quite. Yes, the rules were changed in relation to players bringing the ball back.
If you run off your
play.
mark, yeah.
And I think it's created a lot of confusion, and I think it's dangerous because now there was not any decisiveness between the umpires as to what had actually happened.
Stevens, 60 from goal, little chip kicks a beauty.
Oh, good play, Nick Stevens.
Well, generally speaking, their foot skills have been excellent tonight, Carlton.
And how Lance Whitnell could be given 10 metres by himself, I do not know. He is the hottest player on the ground.
He's got 3. He drives it home for goal number 4. So there's the quick reply from Carlton. The margin back out to 20 points. And it was all set up by that man, Nick Stevens, with his 15th disposal. And it was a beautiful finish by Whitnell.
Anything Melbourne can do, Carlton just seem to be able to do a little better. They have all the answers. Whitnell has undoubtedly been the player of the Wizard Cup so far. He is dominating a second straight match. French beats White. Scotland and Carlton are away again. Bannister considers the options and reckons Whitnell is the best of the lot. How could you argue with that?
This is the best I've seen Lance Whitnell play for a long, long time. 9th mark.
Robert, it does raise the question as to how a club could ever consider getting rid of a player who is, if not in champion class, very close to it.
You then have to think, Tim, he's been on super money for the last 3 seasons and hasn't delivered at all. So how long do you run with that?
You've got to get the best out of him, though, don't you?
Yes, but he wasn't prepared to make the sacrifices to have the proper diet, to do the training that was required. His biggest enemy was himself, and finally the pennies dropped.
Nice build-up by Melbourne. Davies got it too far from home. Chips it into the pocket. Robertson against Teague. Thornton did it nicely. And Carlton out of danger. French, the link man. And Big Barnaby goes bang into the middle, looks for Whitnell. Got about 5 around him. White to Maloney, just couldn't hang on to it, didn't get a favourable bounce. It'll soccer off the ground. Whelan to Ferguson. He pumps it long inside 50 to a pack. Bottom of the pack is Carazzo. Whistle. It's a free kick and it's going Melbourne's way. 45 from goal for a high tackle, and the recipient is Williams, who plays on.
Looking for the 9-pointer.
Whelan from a long way out has picked a point.
Margin 20. Lappin just miscued that a little, giving Bizzle a hint of a chance. McGrath saw the danger. Still Carlton under pressure. Carlton free kick.
In the back to McGrath.
And 50 for abuse.
Gee, they're lucky to get out of it, and their luck turns into a fortune. Martin Ellis, experienced umpire. Let's go back to that kicking from out of bounds. Now, bear in mind that if Teague's kicking other than over the mark, it should have been out of bounds in the first place.
And let's have a look. We'll get another look at that, because I am sure the boundary umpire gestured that it was out of bounds.
Whitnell again. Is that 50? It's got to be close to it.
I'm sure the boundary umpire gestured that that ball was out of bounds.
See, Robertson can only smother him if he is kicking other than over the mark.
Boundary umpire, bottom of picture. Have a look at him.
Yes.
Arm up.
Oh, play on, said the field umpire.
And then he pulls it down.
Yeah, not well handled. Didn't quite carry home. Bizzle. Smothered.
Gee, the pressure by Carlton's fantastic. They are really harassing this Melbourne team. Melbourne love to get the ball freed up, love to use their run and carry, and Carlton are denying them that.
Teague has come off the ground since that kick in too, for a nice little conversation with Dennis Pagan on the phone.
Scotland has the ball. Releases to McGrath. Boot to ball around the body is not a bad snap. It's better than not bad. It's home. Well, everything the Demons throw at the Blues, Carlton has been able to withstand and answer. And the margin now is a very healthy 26 points. Great snap from Corey McGrath.
The Blues have their biggest lead, and the Demons have a massive job in front of them now. French doing pretty well against White. Neil Danaher spoke confidently about White's ability to come to terms with the new centre ruck rules. McLean, French chasing hard. McLean did well. And the Melbourne skipper, David Neitz, who's had a pretty quiet game so far. In fact, only 2 uses of the ball thus far. Has to kick a goal.
And Jeff White sneaking around the side, hoping to get a handball to have a ping at a 9-pointer.
Captain's got to stand up here. Their goal kicking has let them down all night. 6-12.
Both sides have had 18 shots at goal. But it's Carlton with a 25-point advantage as they work the ball forward once again. Whitnell, the front posse, couldn't mark.
Pressure again by Carlton.
Good tackle by Bruce, but swooping is Chambers.
Savola's found space.
He's got about 10 metres on his opponent at the moment, which is Brown, who was desperate. Beautifully done by Brown. Wonderfully done by the Demons defender. But for how long? Does Carlton get it back again? This is Houlihan. Telegraphed the kick somewhat. White was able to get a fist onto it. Pops it over the top. Back to Brown again. To the wing. Robertson. He's got Green lurking on 50. Decides to go in the direction of Bruce. Bannister was there, but well done by Bruce.
Hasn't had a big impact.
Bannister's done a good job.
Clean hands from Spawn, who Carlton have held high hopes for over a number of years. He's had an injury-plagued career thus far. This might be his year.
Only played 8 matches last year, Tim. From
Houlihan to Whittle for mark number 11. Demons dangerous. This is Maloney, the former Cat, from a long way. Has he got the kicking power? Has he got the accuracy? Not quite the latter. 6-13. They've kicked themselves out of this.
1 goal 5 for the term, Demons.
Lappin's got it. He can pop one over the top here to Scotland. What can the Blues set up? The target is Favola. From the side was Whelan. 50 out from Carlton's goal. We're going to have a stalemate here. Leading possession getters in the match for Carlton, 17 to Whitnell, including 11 marks, 15 to Stevens. While for the Demons, Es McDonald with 17 and McLean with 16. Scotland dispossessed. Brown, geez, a terrier. Kick to the wing, only as far as Lappin, who plays on straight away to Houlihan. He's got Favola short. Now Favola can run on here and just about go for home. Favola goes, bang! Is it a super goal? Not quite.
He knew what he was doing. He summed it all up. A couple of easy lopes in. And let's have a crack at the 9-pointer.
Had to go for it under the circumstances, didn't he, given the rules of the game in this comp?
And had he got it, Tim, I reckon it's just about game over.
Yep. Yeah, it would have been the killer blow. Nathan Brown now, runner-up in the best and fairest last year. Had his best season. Became a father recently. This is Luke Williams. Sitting it up. Can someone snare it? All Carlton. Lappin receiving from Prendergast. Right down the throat of French. Yeah, he got a bit fancy.
He got a bit excited, the big fella. He took the mark and he thought, I'll keep on going. I might hook a goal here. Play within your limitations, young man.
A man's got to know his limitations.
His ambition didn't quite match, or his skill didn't quite match his ambition.
Throw in. Heffernan hasn't seen much game time tonight. Is Chris Heffernan? That's a pretty skillful pickup from Bruce. To Bell. G. Brown. Well, he's down there for Melbourne. Now Bizzle. To no one in particular. Underneath it, taking a very good mark for the Blues is Thornton.
He's a steady player now. Is Brett Thornton.
Houlihan. Precision pass to Scotland. Prendergast. Wobbly old kick inside 50. Whitnell sticks out the backside. But the ball falls in the arms of Wheatley. He switches back to the Dockland side, finds Bell. Oh, gee, Favola has dealt. Is he being reported? Well, Green's been dealt with by Favola, and I'm not sure if there's going to be a booking or not, and it is on. Favola has dealt with Green.
They've got the choker hold on Favola.
Now, I wonder if there's going to be a report or not.
The book's out, I think.
Oh, well, that's not reportable. It was a hip and shoulder, a little bit high maybe, he's off the ground, but what do you think, boys? There's got to be a room for a hip and shoulder. I mean, the elbow was tucked in. He did get off the ground, but that's surely, Robert, a hip and shoulder in modern football.
Well, I agree. It certainly wasn't an elbow to the face. It was tucked in. We saw the elbow come up after the collision, but there's no doubt Carlton officials will be worried in today's climate.
So he has been reported. But there's got to be some physicality in the game, Tim. Surely that.
Although if you get an arm into a player's face,
yeah,
you have to take responsibility, I guess. And the manner of the arm contacting the face.
There's no doubt it was high contact, but
will be given close scrutiny, and I guess that's why.
Well, when can you hip and shoulder a person now?
Yeah. Well, you've got to avoid the head.
That's a tough one. Glad we're not adjudicating on that one next week. So Favola has had his number taken.
Green has just come off the ground, but he looks okay.
We believe he will confirm it. We'll get Christy Malthouse to confirm that, in fact, there has been a report. But it appears that this man, the Fev, who's having a great game, has been reported. He winds up from about 65 metres out into the goal square. That's a mark to Davies.
What a vintage Favola response to the hoots of the crowd.
He just
I'll
loved it.
show you, I'll kick one from 65.
He will thrive on that.
So Justin Davies is on a very tight angle, but there is room for him here to run around and have a snap. Well, he didn't need to run around in the end. Just went the straight line. And here's the Favola kick.
This is a
monster.
really gutsy and skillful mark by Davies. Running with the flight in the end. Total disregard for whatever's around. Eyes only for the football and able to pluck it.
And just confirming that Brendan Favola has had his number taken. We're not exactly sure of the charge for an incident with Brad Green. He's sitting on the bench at the moment, but Favola is in the book.
We were at a match here one Saturday night last season when he went into the book, and I think came out of it with a couple of weeks.
Brown with Nathan Brown, wasn't
Brown,
it?
yep. Tough contest for the footy. Melbourne winning it, but not for long. Scotland been pretty good around the midfield for Carlton. Bizzle did nicely there against Davies, who was conceding centimetres.
It's time Neil Danaher put Bizzle on either Favola or Whitnell, because the two youngsters aren't up to the task. I don't know how far away Rivers and Nicholson are with injury, but gee, do the Demons need them?
Apparently Rivers is about a week off, I was asking before the game.
Paul Johnson, former Eagle. Not much marking power there for the Demons tonight. Neat's got his hands onto that, but couldn't hold it. Robertson, who's been their major goal kicker. And he's added to his tally with a very clever one. Demons barely alive. Sylvia it was, levering out the hand pass, and Russell Robertson just knows where they are. He has good goal-kicking instincts.
Angled it on the boot perfectly.
Russell Robertson with his fourth goal keeps the Demons alive. 25 points in favour of Carlton, still a long way from home.
And Miller has been moved onto Brendan Favola.
The bottom of all that is Maloney, and we'll have a bounce as Temper's just a little bit frayed.
Rob, I've got to say, I reckon those centre ruck contests now lack something. I mean, they're not at all spectacular.
Demons into attack once again.
Bit pedestrian, Tim.
Houlihan to Whitnell.
And there's Whitnell again late in the quarter, getting into the defensive half.
To Spawn, who, as we said, only played 8 matches in 2004 because of an injury-riddled season. He's fresh and fit.
See how Miller goes on Favola.
Here he is.
And pretty hard to stop that one.
So Brendan Favola will line up for goal number 4.
Enjoying himself, Favola. See how far he goes back from the man on the mark. Goes back an enormous distance, settles himself down.
Just harping back to that, I know that contact was high, but there's got to be room for a hip and shoulder in football. So in this game, obviously sometimes high-ish contact is going to be unavoidable, but are we going to get rid of the hip and shoulder altogether the way it's going?
The hip and shoulder's fine, but if the hip and shoulder connects with the opponent's head, that's when you're in strife in today's climate.
Intentional, reckless or negligent?
That is the question.
Favola for his 4th. Has got So 4 to Favola, 4 to Whitnall. Between them, they've had 33 possessions and 20 marks.
And there's Lance Whitnall in picture. Lance Whitnall's playing in defence. At least in this quarter, Neil Danaher's made sure that he has an opponent. He didn't do that in the second quarter, and it cost the Demons.
Now, watch this contest. There's just everyone seems to be indeterminate. It is almost impossible, I would think, at the moment. Now, perhaps something will evolve, but for Ruckman to gain an ascendancy over their opponent. Houlihan, well tackled, but always has that little bit of time. Bannister, Favola again, all 2 coming at him hard. Davies. Bannister to Stevens. Eddie Betts been quiet. Kicked one early. Hasn't been able to add to that tally. Blues by 31 points. Brad Green on the bench. He was on the other end of it as Favola collected him, and the name of Brendan Favola went into the umpire's book.
Whitnall to do the ruck work. Ferguson over the top with the fist. Demons clear. Maloney couldn't quite trap it. Oh, beautifully done, Lappin. Prendergast gets ridden into the ground. Play on, says the umpire. Quick kick out of the pack by Wiggins. Bizzle. And his kick finds Miller. Told to play on. And that was a poor option. Brad Miller. Turnover. One last chance for Carlton. Now the siren went before Favola took the mark, I reckon.
Split second before.
The umpire mightn't have heard it, but I reckon the siren went before Favola took the mark, but the umpire said it's a mark.
Well, the second umpire's going down to the umpire who's guarding the mark. They're conferring.
Siren definitely went. Yes, good call.
And a good call.
Sorry, Carlton fans, but that was the right call. Favola's put one through anyway for good measure. So let's listen to a replay. One last chance for Carlton. Now the siren went before Favola took the mark, I reckon. It was just, but it was there. Good call by the men in orange. We had everything that quarter at the last break. It is the Blues in front by 31, Robert Walls.
Yes, and they thoroughly deserve that lead. They have really worked well as a team. Their midfield's been strong. They're sharing the football. They've got the 2 gun forwards firing. Barnaby French is doing a good job. Brett Thornton's holding up at centre-half back. I don't think the Blues are going to lose this one.
The Cup is proudly brought to you by ANZ. Play your cards right. Bow Repairs.